Fanboy, 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 fanboy.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Fanboy Reviews Countdown, where we count down the top 10 worst, most terrible, most putrid Mario games in all of gaming history. Alright, so let's begin. Number 1. Hotel Mario. Alright, so this one came out for the CDI in 1994. This was a crappy puzzle game about shutting doors. Yes, that's right. It's about shutting doors. Awful title. It was one of these crappy Philips games that somehow they acquired Nintendo's license to release Nintendo games because they were going to make a system. It's a long history behind it, but it turned out to be one of the biggest flops in gaming. The only good thing is that not a lot of people got a chance to freaking play this horrific title. It is a bland, crappy game. It is a terrible puzzle game. There's really nothing good about it. Very redundant gameplay, very repetitive, and one of the worst games, not just one of the worst Mario games, but one of the worst video games in history. Number 2, Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo. That's right, came out in 1990. This was a launch title for the SNES. Definitely a terrible platformer. Horrible way to launch a brand new system. I mean, Mario World? You know, very corny graphics, you know, horrible 2D sprites that have very little detail. Bad boss fights, you know, they were very, very repetitive and not very fun. And there's hardly any weapons in the game, and basically because of Mario's speed, you know, he's able to run really fast. It was just a rip-off of Sonic. That's right, he completely stole Sonic's idea of running really quickly through a level. Mario World is easily one of the worst games out of Nintendo's library. Number 3. Super Mario Land 2, 6 golden coins. This one came out for the Game Boy, 1992. It was a handheld platforming game. Really, there's not much to say about it. It was an 8-bit crappy Game Boy Mario game. No improvements over the first Mario Land, which came out in the late 80s. There's nothing much to talk about except the graphics sucked so bad that it was basically in black and white. That's right, it didn't even have color. Oh man! Now, how crappy is that? Would you ever play a video game that has no color? Absolutely not! Mario Land 2 is awful. Alright, number 4. Super Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. This one came out for the SNES, came out in 96. This is a really terrible role-playing game. That's right, a Mario game that's an RPG. That doesn't make any sense at all. Alright, and by the way, it was developed by Square, who is basically known for making the Final Fantasy games. And that's what this game is. It's basically a Final Fantasy title, except with Mario characters in it as the sprites. So there really isn't anything different here. And the fact that you have like Bowser teaming up with Mario to fight alongside each other is just stupid. I mean, this game stinks. The only good thing is that this was a one-off, meaning they only made this as, you know, a side project, and it was just a one-off. It was one game that had no sequel. Number 5. Super Mario 64 for the N64. Came out in 96. This is an awful 3D platforming game. Really, it's Mario's first 3D title, and look at the graphics. It's just a complete mess. It looks like turds. It has no innovation. It is it's a travesty, really. Not a fun game. Okay, so basically, if you ever play Banjo-Kazooie by Rareware, that's what this game is. So basically, Nintendo was ripping off Banjo-Kazooie. You know, the same premises, the same style, the same, you know, third person running around, jumping, the double jump, you know, the Egyptian levels. I could just go on. I mean, Mario's really unoriginal. Just a terrible game. Number 6. Super Mario World 2. Yoshi's Island. For the SNES, came out in '95. Crappy, unoriginal platforming game. This was really a prequel to Mario World, but the crappy part really is that this is a Yoshi game. It's not even really a Mario game. You play Yoshi 99% of the time. You're this green dinosaur that can throw eggs, and Baby Mario is riding your back. Makes absolutely zero sense. It is completely wacky, cartoonish, goofy. It's unrealistic. You know, it's not a real... I can't relate to it. You know, there's no real world basis to this. This is just a wacky, weird, drug-induced euphoria that is meant to act like a video game. I mean, it's pathetic. What kind of substances were they on when they came up with this bizarre stuff, man? Alright, number 7. Super Mario Sunshine, GameCube, 2002. The GameCube. Did it have any games that's above, like, crappy? This game stunk so bad. It was a 3D platformer, and it's the same title cliche, you know, it's the same thing over and over again. You have Mario. This time he's got that thing strapped on his back. You know, it's a complete gimmick. Not a memorable game at all. You know, it can't even... I vaguely remember this title. You know, it's such a long time ago when it came out, and it's like... The saddest part is that Mario Sunshine is still like $20 used for the GameCube to this day. Like, people are still selling this, trying to get a lot of money off of it. It's a complete waste of money. It sucked then, it still sucks now. Mario Sunshine is probably one of the most forgettable Mario games in history. Alright, number 8. You got Mario Kart Wii for the Nintendo Wii. Came out in 2008. You know, these kart racing games have got to stop. Now, the Super Mario Kart series have always been terrible, alright? They always sucked since the first one, and Mario Kart 64, they always were terrible, but this one was especially garbage because you had to use that stupid peripheral, that fake plastic useless crap that you strapped on to the Wiimote and acted like a wheel, and oh my gosh, there was, you know, it was the biggest crock of gimmick I've ever seen. You know, it's not fun. The stage designs were terrible, bad graphics, bad levels, bad characters, and the thing with kart racing games too is that it basically ripped off Sonic Sega All-Stars Racing. Because Sega, you know, they made kart racing games in the past, and no, it didn't start with Sonic All-Stars. They had a Sonic racing game back for the Sega Game Gear, you know, way back in the day. And not just that, in the late 80s they had another kart racing game. So Sega made the kart racing video games way before Nintendo ever did it. So basically Nintendo steals. All they do is rip off Sega. Alright, number 9. New Super Mario Bros. U for the Wii U. Came out 2012. It's a 2D platformer. This game stinks. Bad graphics. It's a crappy 2D platforming Mario game. Like, we don't have enough of that. Oh, wow. Oh, another 2D Mario game? Wow, that's completely new, Nintendo. Thank goodness. Thank the gaming gods that we have another fresh installment of this recycled, rehashed crap that you've been shoving down our throats for the past 30 years, man! Alright. And number 10, to round out this list of the worst Mario games, Super Mario Galaxy 2 came out for the Wii, 2010. This is the sequel to the really terrible Mario Galaxy, but this one was even worse. It had no improvements at all. It had no innovation, just more of the same turds, but even worse because, well, it's more recent. It's a 3D platformer, and really bad graphics, really poor gameplay. The music was so bad and completely forgettable, no replay value. Mario always was pretty much one of the worst characters in history. And this is proof of that. I mean, this game got such negative feedback. There's really nothing much else I can say. I mean, that's pretty much it. This is the top 10 worst Mario games, and I can't even believe that Mario's still around. You would think that they would have retired Mario a long time ago. They should have. There's nothing of value when it comes to Mario. He stinks. His image sucks. His costume sucks. His powers are terrible. The whole world, the whole Mario universe is just this useless, outdated, like, kiddified crap that should have stayed in the 80s. It's a mess. Pretty much all the Mario games suck, man, if you think about it. You know, Mario Tennis, Mario Golf, Smash Brothers, you know, Mario Party. I mean, they're Mario Brothers, you know, they're all horrific games that have no innovation, no gameplay, well, poor gameplay. Mario stinks.